8 College Cup appearances under Krikorian for Florida State, 2014 National Championship as well, and puts out a very talented lineup every night, and he'll do the same here this evening.
Yeah, on the back line tonight for Florida State, the freshman Kirsten Pavlisko makes her 15th start of the season. Defensive midfielder Malia Berkeley is tied for 4th in the conference in assists. We already talked about Yuji Zhao. She is tied for 8th in points and 10th in goals in the ACC.
In Pittsburgh, led by Randy Waldrum, 14 years at Notre Dame. His first season here in Pittsburgh, and boy, what a career he has had. You see over 400 career wins. Got that earlier this year in a game against Ohio, but a pair of national titles with the Fighting Irish, and brings a ton of experience to this Pittsburgh team. Let's take a look at their lineup tonight.
On the back line for Pitt, Aideen O'Donoghue, the sophomore from Canonsburg, PA. She's making her 15th start. In the midfield, redshirt senior Ashley Morera. She's tied for 2nd on the team in goals. And the leader, the freshman up front, Anna Rico, the forward, tops on the team in goal scoring on the season for the Panthers.
See Pittsburgh wearing the pink jerseys tonight. Breast Cancer Awareness Month here in October. Good look for the Panthers. Florida State wearing the dark red, as you see the pink jerseys of Pittsburgh tonight. I'll tell you a little bit more about those jerseys and the meaningfulness behind them as we go through the night. But this will be all-time the 6th meeting between these two programs. And Bob, back in the Open, talked about the game last year, probably warmer down in Tallahassee. But Pitt hung tough. That was a 2-1 game last year at Florida State. And obviously, it was a Pitt team that struggled last year. It's been a rocky season so far in their first year under Randy Waldrum, but has the program going in a pretty positive direction, we feel, and certainly a situation tonight where they're going to have an opportunity to prove themselves.
Indeed, and you mentioned it, chance to play spoiler. You've got to look for those things as the season, especially the last 7 games, have not been that great for the University of Pittsburgh. You mentioned it tonight, the 6th meeting between these two squads, all the previous 5 since Pitt joined the ACC in 2013 have gone the way of Florida State.
And you mentioned the last 7 games for Pittsburgh not going their way. It's been a struggle for Florida State over their last 7. They're 3-3-1 in their last 7 games as we are underway here at Ambrose Urbanic Field. But Seminoles trying to find themselves a little bit, I think, here as we head towards the ACC tournament. And they are not a lock at this point for the tournament, and that brings a lot of meaningfulness to this game tonight.
Yeah, top 8, as we talked about in the Open. Coach Krikorian said that they're playing pretty well, but it's the little things. Small details equals the results that you don't want, and he's hoping to tighten that up here this evening as Kat Robinson gets a first play of the ball for Pitt.
And got a little pressure there from Yuji Zhao. And Zhao, we mentioned, so terrific for them this year. 6 goals, 3 assists from Shanghai in China, an international player. And Mark Krikorian told us sometimes you don't know how international players will translate their game to the American style game. Well, no problems for Zhao. She has been an absolute dynamic offensive force for them, and here she is with it again.
He called her transition, Josh, seamless.
Yeah, no doubt. Florida State establishing the attack. Again, Kat Robinson already an early touch on the ball down to the left. Panthers trying to clear it out. Florida State with an opportunity. Sent back to Pavlisko. Here she is again on the touch. Florida State working the outside, trying to find an entry pass, but tight defense by the Panthers. There's Zhao in the box. Got it off, look out, an opportunity for the Seminoles. They play it out to Villalobos. Here she is again. Dangerous player, Villalobos. You can say that about a lot of these Florida State Seminoles. Mentioned the offensive balance that they have had this year with 13 players scoring. Panthers are on their heels early.
Indeed they are, backed into their defensive third of the field. And it's been a good possession start after Pitt had the opening kickoff. It's been all Florida State in the maroon, and they work on the right flank to set up again, and they've been very patient with their ball handling and ball movement. Their passes have been crisp.
And they're just working the outside. They're making the Pitt defenders and midfielders run quite a bit here. Still stepping to it is Cuica. Good ball through, look out. Here's Castellanos. And the opportunity.
That's the player you want to mark. Good job by Cheyenne Hudson, the junior from Bethany, West Virginia. See her there in the picture, made the defensive play. It Will Rosado over in the first corner kick of the game. I'm sure Castellanos is used to being the focal point, as she should be. She has such tremendous numbers.
Venezuelan is Castellanos, a junior. 7 multi-goal matches at Florida State for Castellanos. Good cross in on the corner. Panthers played with the head a couple of times and are able to get it out, but Zhao with it. Zhao so noticeable in the middle of the field. This ball crossed in, a header on, and it will go wide. Robinson will watch it roll out. So a good couple of early opportunities here for Florida State. And Robinson just saw that one go wide.
And there's the cross, Castellanos near side to the far side, and up front they got a header. It came, and Robinson did a good job. She saw that all the way. It's a good effort by Florida State's Anna Patton.
And that is Anna Patton, Bob mentioned, 5'9" sophomore from England.
Mentioned the transition for Zhao, and it's interesting to see how the international players come over here.
There's Casey Tillman.
They're just ahead of the game.
It's kind of a scrambling defensive play on the back end here for the Panthers as Tillman was applying pressure, trying to get it through to Zhao.
Scrambling, but good.
He's able to keep it out. A little step over move.
Gravanti, I think, made that play from
and shot on Villalobos. That one off the outside of the net.
That's a good effort, just outside the top of the box. Picking the far post from our vantage point for the garnet and golds.
That is
teed it up.
Gloriana.
Yes,
yeah.
Step to the right foot, Josh. That's a good strike from about 20 out.
Gloriana Villalobos, a Costa Rica native. Last year All-ACC third team, the All-ACC freshman team, and has made 12 appearances with the full national team of the Costa Rica squad, which was on the roster for the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup.
Searching for her first goal of the season. She came pretty close to getting the icebreaker here in this one.
She missed their last game with Florida State. She was with the Costa Rican national team at the CONCACAF.
Pretty sure it was warmer there, too. Not that it's bad. We're used to this in Western Pennsylvania. This is a beautiful fall evening.
Yeah, we asked Mark Krikorian about that as well, and he said we have a lot of international players. We have a lot of players from the north, northeast. They're used to this, but I think when you spend enough time in Florida, you get a little bit of a shock.
It was funny because I asked him about being a Northeasterner. He quickly cut me off and said, nope.
Not anymore.
Nope, I'm a Florida guy. I don't miss the Northeast weather at all.
Got Florida State on the attack, and bumped down there is Jalen Howell.
That'll be the first foul of the game. And second set piece, the first a corner. This one a free kick for Florida State, about 30-35 out.
Mariona Sagales, a guilty party. Will be, you would guess, Castellanos to take it. This is going to come back.
False start on that.
By the way, we mentioned the weather. It's about 46 degrees right now.
Coach Krikorian told us, Josh, that you wonder why Castellanos, who's a great goal scorer, has taken the free kick. She took the corner kick as well to start it. Keying into the set piece. He said she has great vision.
There's a drive in, boy, off the top of the net. That's a couple of really good looks for Florida State early on here that have grazed the outside parts of the net.
It's funny, we had the whistle for the false start, and on that false start, Castellanos played it off to the left side. And that time she took a great shot on the free kick.
Heavy coats are on, 46 degrees, partly cloudy skies.
Heavy coats for Floridians.
Yes, yeah.
People in this area are loving it. It's hoodie weather.
I don't know about loving it, but
sweatshirt weather. Okay.
I
embellished a little.
There's some heavy coats on the Pitt side as well. It's more of a mix.
Yeah, well, they're not all Western Pennsylvanians on the Pitt bench.
Here come the Panthers. This is Taylor Price. Price in a good run. Oh, she stays on it. Price with an opportunity, tries to cross it over, and coming out is Caroline Jeffers to scoop that one up, but a good early opportunity there, and that all got started by a great move from Taylor Price.
Yeah, indeed. Price, who missed some time last year and earlier this year with an injury, came down one-on-one, just forced away on the ball. It was a good idea on the near side, the right goal line, to try to cross it. She had a teammate, Harry Morgan, in support who couldn't get a foot on it, and that's the first touch and the first stop of the game for Jeffers. First time she had to come out, and she handled it well. You're always nervous until you get that first touch as a keeper, I believe. There haven't been a lot of those for Jeffers on the season, playing just 8 minutes and 48 seconds coming in tonight.
And that was Jalen Howe that she went one-on-one with and was able to get some separation on that good little step-over move. Villalobos sends it to the far side. That ball out of bounds, though. You saw that first look at Caroline Jeffers down in the net. And, you know, obviously Florida State's in a decent spot to make the tournament, but this is not probably the time of year of the game where you want to have to rely on a backup goalie. We'll see how she performs. Already has stood tall to the task. Good play defensively by the Panthers. Long ball, they're looking for Price again, but a good cutoff. It was nicely done by Pavlisko.
If you look at the records, 4-9-1 for the Panthers, even though they're above 500 at home. 10-3-2 postseason aspirations for the Seminoles, Josh. Some would say that this is the proverbial trap game for Florida State.
Right, absolutely. Especially when we mentioned the tight game that the two teams played last year, and that was a game that was tied at 1. It's dropped back. Florida State bringing some pressure. It's Howe with it. Turned it over. Now Pitt's top goalkeeper, who has started to split time with Catherine Robinson and Amaya Pena. She played last year, made 6 saves in that game against Florida State. Dallas Dorsey scored, and it was an own goal that ended up being the difference. There's a long shot taken, hit a body on the way through. Castellanos sends it back. Florida State will reset.
Both keepers for Pitt, talking about Kat Robinson being a freshman. Both are young. Pena is just a redshirt sophomore. There was opportunity with in the back end for the Panthers.
There's Castellanos, got that touch from Zhao, then sends it back. Some opening, and a good save made by Robinson. A nice opportunity for Casey Tillman, but Kat Robinson right there for another stop.
Castellanos just working the right again, going to the right, lost one defender, and that one-on-one, a good little drop back, if you will, for that 15-footer. Better save, nice save, Kat Robinson, staying home at the far post.
And one thing we heard from Randy Waldrum is she is a much more physical goalkeeper of the two that Pitt has. She's much more involved, is able, he thinks, to go out and get the ball more. Well, Amaya Pena has some strengths maybe that Robinson doesn't. There's things that Robinson does better than Pena, and some of those things are why she's been able to garner some more playing time as the season has gone on.
Yeah, both keepers, Coach Waldron mentioned, are good with her feet. Kat had a bruised hand, we talked about it in the opening, and you know, she injured it in some action, and then re-injured a little bit in training, so she's rounding into health. And that didn't bother her, making her first save of the game on that previous opportunity for the Seminoles.
Panthers applying pressure, and it's like a knee-on-knee there, and
trip.
That is
Berkeley.
Yeah, Malia Berkeley. Berkeley's had a nice year. Just go back game after game, it just seems like she's involved in a goal in some way for this team, and big presence.
She's from Ohio, so she probably is comfortable in this weather. It's crucial now. So we're over 11 minutes in with a little stoppage for the injury. Coach Waldron told us, Josh, that the key is not falling behind early. Pitt has done that often, and they've gotten back on their heels, even though they've been back on their heels. They get behind 1-2, a goal here or 2 goals there, and it's kind of snowballed. So he thought that was a key in tonight's contest.
Berkeley looks to be okay, gets back up. It's like a shin on knee, perhaps. Here's Tillman. Florida State working it in close. Good slide play, and that ball will be kicked out. That also prevented a corner there, it looked like, as well. So a nice defensive recovery by the Panthers along the goal line.
It was Adine O'Donoghue with a nice slide tackle. There she is, pressuring the ball on the far sideline.
Dean O'Donohue has scored 2 goals this year. A local, I think Bob mentioned it earlier, from Cannon McMillan High School in Cannonsburg, about 45 minutes south of here, roughly.
Part of a very successful program at Cannon McMillan. Proud to be a Big Mac, I'm sure Dean is, or former Big Mac.
I'll drop back to Kirsten Pavlisko. Now Natalia Kuika off to Zhao. Al slides it right side. Florida State going to go again. Here they come. Again, the Panthers defense recovering, but that one will go out for a corner. From the foul earlier, the Florida State bench, they were not, I think, all that pleased. See Mark Krikorian. He's not happy.
He won the card? I don't think there was even a free kick. I thought they just played on, so we get a corner kick, second corner of the game. This one opposite flag for the Seminoles.
Sent in a decent area, but nobody home for the Seminoles. Just booted all the way back down. Trying to get up was Ari Morgan for Pittsburgh, freshman. And both of these teams have a lot of youth, and Panthers, they know they're going to be a young team. They're only going to get younger. They have 15 recruits ready to come in next year. I mean, this is going to be a very different looking squad a year from now with Randy Waldrum at the helm. Here comes Florida State. Zhao, the touch in the box, batted around. Zhao trying to settle it down, still free. Finally, the Panthers will just clear.
Randy Waldron told us that he got her just after January, just after the start of the new year. So they had a chance to do a little bit of recruiting, but we're mostly held to the recruits that were already previously in the program.
And at that point, it's so hard to get players to flip from their commitments, but they have started to generate more interest in the programs. And he said, talking all up and down the East Coast to club coaches, that they hear high school age players talking about Pitt now when they maybe weren't in the past with the new coaching staff coming in here. And I think, obviously the trajectory is going in the right direction. Here's Florida State. They're doing just that as well, but on the field, Castellanos, a good attempt, and Castellanos finishes.
That's your finisher right there. We talked about Castellanos, the junior. Their leading goal scorer last year, second on the team, now tied with Zhao with 6, and that's just a right-footed strike, wasting no time from just inside the arc.
And a great setup by Villalobos there as well. She was able to force her way in, good body positioning, Bob, and she created that space and then was obviously able to find Castellanos, who finished.
So there's the goal we talked about. Comes in the 15th minute for Castellanos. Was just outstanding last year. Her numbers aren't as great this year, but she's had better support, and I'm sure she's been the focal point of many of the defenses as well. Castellanos, top George soccer players to watch all preseason.
She was ranked by one publication as the 6th best collegiate soccer player as well. So see why right there. And here's a good play by Zhao, using the body to create a turnover. Now Castellanos on the move again. Panthers have fallen behind early on in this one. But the big thing here now is you cannot fall behind by 2.
Castellanos, by the way, historical. That's her 32nd career goal. She was 6th in program history. She's now tied for 5th. 32 career goals for the junior Castellanos from Maracay, Venezuela.
You said it right there, only a junior. Those numbers could obviously be improved on as she furthers her career.
could potentially be looking at a 50 goal scorer in her college career, which is outstanding.
With it is Christina Lynch getting some room. It's off the bar. Boy, Christina Lynch just got a little bit of space and rocketed one, but it stays out.
She absolutely did rocket that, moving from left, a couple steps from left to right, and then just drilled it with the right foot off the crossbar.
Florida State really starting to bring it since getting that goal. They have upped the pressure in a major way. They've had it throughout, but now you see they got one. I think they want to get another. They want to score in bunches and, you know, certainly try to break the will maybe of this Panthers team just a bit. That's what good teams do, obviously. They try to jump on you and exploit any kind of weaknesses they can find, and that's what Florida State appears to be at least trying to do right now. You see the shots right now, 6-0 in favor of the Seminoles.
There's a reason why with the Castellanos goal, Florida State has outscored opponents 31-7. They're very skilled offensively, and you can see it in this first half so far. As all of the play, in case you haven't noticed, has been to our left.
Good play here, getting some space underneath, dropped off for Villalobos. Another good move down on the goal line by Christina Lynch.
That right on the left goal line.
She had put one off the crossbar moments ago, and then watch this move. See two Panther defenders collide. That's the one off the bar. And made that good move to set up another one.
We're talking about Castellanos, Zhao, who are tied for the team leading goals. Christina Lynch has 3 markers on the season in her own right, so that's the spread out scoring we talked about. She's the freshman from Granger, Indiana.
She was a big-time recruit for Florida State, as Robinson will come out and get this. Christina Lynch, coming out of high school, was the 2017 United Soccer Coaches National Player of the Year. She was the Top Drawer Soccer National Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Indiana, USA Today First Team All-American twice in her career, scored 130 goals throughout her high school career, and she was also a punt pass kick champion in the NFL as well. The NFL hosts that event, punt pass and kick for youth athletes, and I'm guessing she was involved in the kicking part of it. We didn't get that specific information, but I would imagine that she probably won for kicking, and you see why. She puts one off the bar earlier. A little bit of a slip there for Florida State.
You read her scholastic resume there, Josh, and those are the players that Coach Waldron and the new program, the new regime here at Pitt would hope to attract here, because well, we know it. We talk about it when both the boys and girls soccer and many of the programs. It's tough sledding. Soccer-wise, the ACC, in many people's estimation, and correctly, it's the top league. So those are players, those are the type of recruits you need to get to be competitive in this league. And
Lynch comes from a good athletic family. Her dad played baseball. Her dad, Greg, played baseball at Wisconsin. She is in school to be an orthopedic surgeon as well at Florida State. So I think beyond very promising future in soccer, she could have one in a hospital somewhere as well as an orthopedic surgeon potentially. And
that makes sense, as her strike was almost surgical.
Yes. There's Castellanos. It's a little delay, and then sends one over to Christina Lynch. Taken away nicely by Cheyenne Hudson. Great story with Cheyenne Hudson. You saw her make the defensive play as Robinson handles this. Randy Waldron was very transparent with her before the year, and very transparent with us for that matter. They told her before the year that they did not think she was going to see the field very much whatsoever this season, and they said that she just kept working and working and forced her way, did Cheyenne Hudson, onto the field. She's a junior out of West Virginia, and he said that it's one of those stories that it makes you feel good. There's a couple of players on this roster where they did not expect them to be contributors at all, just seeing what they saw on tape, and they've ended up being players that have played significant minutes and have played quite well at times for the Panthers this season, and Cheyenne Hudson's one of them.
Panthers called for a foul. Going to be whistle against Allie Higgs. That is a great story. Number one, Cheyenne, good job to keep working and not getting disappointed and responding well to the criticism and the critique from the coaching staff. And number two, got to give Coach Waldron and his staff credit for realizing that, seeing that, and She earns the playing time, Josh, and so that's a reward for her as we get a first substitution.
That'll be Michaela Alcorn who will step in for the Panthers.
Into the match with the Panthers, number 11.
She's a freshman from New York, New York.
14, Viviana Sagales.
Back to the recruiting deal, Coach Waldron told us that he called his, you mentioned the 15 players, he said we've recruited exceptionally well. He said 2019, 2021, there's a lot of good talent coming in. They've got some recruits. He talked about the buzz locally, 3 players from Norwin, who's a suburb of Pittsburgh, and a tremendous girls soccer program.
Yes.
They're the #1 seed in the high school playoffs this year. 3 players from that squad have already given verbal commitments to the University of Pittsburgh.
Look out, here's Tillman trying to work it to the middle, and a player for Florida State was knocked down, crashing in, but no call, and now player's shaken up.
It's Pat.
Yes, it is. Here come the Panthers back with it. They are offside, though, on that. And take a look. See the good work in by Casey Tillman. And maybe just a kind of
a push for Alcorn maybe at the end there?
Yeah, maybe.
The feet got angled up. She had her elbow, her right elbow on Pat as well. Let's check it. It wasn't Pat.
That was Rico. I'm sorry, that was Pavlisco, excuse me.
I don't know. I think a good no call. Always iffy on those calls. And if you're Florida State, you want it, of course, because it's in the 18-yard box, and that results in a penalty kick. I like the 50-50 call. You got to be physical. You need a little physicality.
Right, absolutely.
I don't think it was anything excessive, for Alcorn.
I think her extending the arm out made it look potentially worse than it was. She kind of put that arm out, maybe just trying to brace. And
I think she put her, to keep her balance.
Right.
More than anything.
And that looks like a push, but that's one where you wouldn't be surprised if it does, I think, get called. And I think you can understand maybe why, what Florida State's seeing, you can understand why they would think that was potentially a foul in the box.
Well, a few times Pitt has ventured into Florida State territory, working the far sideline, but can't get anything inside. They're all kept to the outside right now by the Seminoles.
And again, if you're joining us late, Brooke Bollinger, the redshirt freshman who has started in goal for Florida State this year, nearly has played every minute until tonight. She is not playing, under the weather, and they have turned instead to their backup in Caroline Jeffers. Jeffers, a transfer from East Carolina.
She's a Florida native, is Jeffers. Played at Olympia High School in Windermere, Florida. It's nice to have that kind of quality to go to as well. Former first teamer at East Carolina, missed last year with an injury.
Jeffers, we always like to look at family connections. She has some interesting family connections on the football side, the American football side. There's a takedown as Tillman hit the deck.
Price trying to get a through ball to Morgan. That would have been a nice opportunity for the Panthers.
Those two have worked hard up top.
Yeah, they haven't had many opportunities.
Right.
Most of the touches defensively for Florida State have come offensively, if you will. They've been pushed into the attack zone, and that's when they've been getting their touches.
Pavlisco hands it off to Villalobos. Zhao knocks it back out. We talked about for a moment there Jeffers on the American football side, the goalkeeper for Florida State Seminoles. Her uncle played at Virginia, played football at Virginia, then played in the NFL, played for the Broncos, the Cowboys, and the Carolina Panthers. And 1999 had a 1,000-yard receiving season, had 10 touchdowns for the Carolina Panthers. So here is Villalobos. So that's one of her uncles. Her other uncle is former Tennessee Volunteer head coach Derek Dooley, who's now a wide receiver coach with the Dallas Cowboys. It's a couple of pretty good uncles to have right there, especially if you want football tickets.
Good lineage.
Yeah, if you want football tickets on a Sunday.
You sure the note about pump, pass, and kick wasn't Jeffers? Put it in the wrong column?
Could be. Some good on the side of Caroline Jeffers.
She's not. She's had one touch on that cross. Wasn't a shot. Yep. It was a cross on the right goal line from Taylor Price. That's really the only time she's been around the ball so far in this first half.
And of course, her great uncle then would be Vince Dooley, former Georgia coach. Long shot here by Zhao that's going to be turned out wide.
Pretty good job. I don't think that's our off foot. There you see Yuji Zhao moved from right to left and struck it, but missed it. She doesn't look, physically maybe, looks like a freshman. Her numbers aren't freshman-like, and her presence is certainly not freshman-like. She's really great technically, Coach Krikorian told us, as the Seminoles sending Kristen McFarland, the redshirt sophomore. She's also from Ohio.
She missed all of last season, did McFarland, with an injury. In 2016 was on the ACC all-freshman team, had 13 starts, and was third on the team with 5 goals. She had 3 assists back in 2016 as a first-year player. It's from a lineage of collegiate swimmers, does McFarland. Both of her parents swam in college. Her mom at NC State, dad at Bowling Green. She was a swimmer in high school as well. Checks into the game here.
Donahue would throw it on the far side. Pitch out a through ball. It was a good read defensively by Anna Patton for Florida State. One of the few times they've been forced to make a defensive play. Now here comes an opportunity. Pitt organizing on the near flank.
Trying to get it down the wing to Alcorn. And Alcorn came in as a sub a few minutes ago. Go for a Panther throw.
It's a sneaky little play there by Cheyenne Hudson to get physical and knock that Florida State defender away to get the throw. And now Pitt moves it about 10 yards closer on the near sideline. Touch and go after this ball on the near sideline. Little right arm, right elbow to create that opportunity. Here she is with the ball
nice
near
play.
midfield.
Nice play by Hudson.
Turn it over.
Taken away. Look out, Florida State trying to beat the Panthers on a counter. Castellanos looking back for Zhao.
That's what you got to be careful of, their counterattack. That was the first real opportunity, Josh, for Pitt to try to organize an attack in this first half. Who do you mark? I'm going to get a yellow card.
It's going to go against the Panthers.
Someone was tied up with Patton, I believe. Rico. Rico. It was in a camera shot. First card of the game. Who do you mark, though, with 13 goal scorers and really talented goal scorers? Like, we know how good Castellanos is, and then Zhao comes in on the play. That is Rico.
Yeah, I think
gets the card.
You know, to answer that question, Bob, I think you just have to play solid across the board. I mean, you have to play exceptionally well, I should say, not just solid across the board.
You've got to keep to your assignments. Maybe keep to your section of the field as well. Don't chase the ball.
Good defensive plays like that will certainly help. That was for the Panthers, Dixon Veltri, who stepped up and cleared that ball.
Morgan was up ahead, and then almost again. Pitt has been close, maybe 3 times, of trying to get that through ball. That was just a clear, which almost worked as a through ball.
And that's
for Morgan.
And that's what Randy Waldrum said that he was hoping for, was that maybe they catch Florida State napping a bit and they hit them on a counter because they know that they're going to be defending quite a bit against such a skilled team. Here's Zhao with it. Zhao able to play it over, looking for Tillman, but Tillman just could not run quickly enough to get to that.
Zhao was in the middle on that attack. McFarland came down the left side, and Zhao, she's got some good speed. There's McFarland to Zhao. Zhao knew she had McFarland, but she went to the right side for Florida State, just too far for Casey Tillman, the senior. There are options right there. Again, you've got a break, and it was almost a 3-on-3. Now, who do you guard? If you gravitate to Zhao, you leave the players on the wings wide open.
Patton got it to Zhao there, but lost her footing. Panthers trying to hit on a counter. Look at the bodies. They send 4 players up, trying to get it through to Alcorn, but it's going to go long, and a little bit of a push there at the end.
We saw that on the near sideline. That was Cuica.
And Natalia Cuica.
Bought it off Alcorn.
Cuica, preseason All-ACC selection. You see her here running this ball down. Just a little shove there.
It was a pretty good shoulder for Cuica.
Now in the match,
Cuica on the Mac Herman Trophy watch list entering the season for the top collegiate soccer player.
Morgan out of the lineup. Celia Lopez, all the way from Pamplona, Spain, the freshman, enters the lineup for the Panthers. No Celia out there for her stature. Just coming in at 5'3". Midfield. See her right there near the logo.
Again, Florida State at 10-3-2 this year. 3-3-1 though in the ACC, trying to hold on to their positioning, get into the ACC tournament. I mean, this is a team that is a perennial powerhouse under Mark Kukurian, and well, that would be a stunner, especially with the way they started the season. I mean, they looked so dominant, did Florida State. Outscored in their first 4 games. They outscored teams 12-0 and didn't allow a goal into their 6th match of the year. And that was a 4-1 win over the number 2 team in the country in UCLA. But you see where they are right now, Bob. They're in some jeopardy, and there's a couple of teams behind them, including a Notre Dame squad that we'll see here on Sunday that'll be looking for an important win. So they have some work to do. It is not a done deal for them yet. Now, when they get into the tournament, they could very well win it, even from a 7 or an 8 spot, because they're just that talented. But I think overall in ACC play, a bit of a disappointing year for the Seminoles.
Well, their next game on the slate is Virginia. They're one of the teams ahead of them, so you kind of have a shot at controlling your own destiny with that. You talked about the start. They were 4-0-1 in their first 5 games, Josh. They had 5 shutouts, and they were actually 7-0-1 at one point. We talk about struggling, and 3-3-1 is not necessarily a horrible record, but that's what they are in their last 7 games after a tie against North Carolina State last Saturday.
And as Megan Connolly into the game, she's going to get it here. Connolly trying to center one, but tipped out. Megan Connolly from Ireland, Cork, Ireland, her hometown. Last year was 4th on the team with 9 points. 2 years ago, all ACC second team. 2015 was the ACC Freshman of the Year, a very talented player from Ireland for this team, and one that Randy Waldrum said that he really loves watching her play because she's a terrific player.
That was a good defensive play by O'Donoghue, Adine O'Donoghue for Pitt at the 3rd corner for Florida State.
Headed out by the Panthers.
Yeah, well defended.
Now a turn and a shot high for Natalia Cuica.
There's the thing. You made a good play. You headed it out, but you couldn't clear it out. Even though Cuica's shot was from about 35 from distance, you don't want that opportunity. If you're Pitt, you head it out of the box. You want to get possession and push it further up the field, not allow Florida State that secondary opportunity.
Mentioned the international player from Ireland with Connolly, Cuica, who loses control here. She is from Finland, and last year was named the Finland Female National Player of the Year in her home country. I think that kind of speaks to how talented she is when I don't care what country you're from. If you're in the running for National Player of the Year and you win that, no matter what country you're from, it probably signifies that you're a pretty darn good player, and that's exactly what Natalia Cuica is.
That's kind of the big name and the high-stakes recruits that Coach Kukurian and a program like Florida State gets. That's why they're continually in the mix. They just keep reloading with these younger players in the recruiting, and then you see them here. They come out, they get recruited, and they're playing, and they're getting minutes in the ACC.
Here is Zhao. She can't win that. Good defensive play by Cheyenne Hudson again, she has made a couple of nice early on efforts in this game. You mentioned the consistency under Mark Krikorian. They're the only program to finish every season between 2005 and 2015 ranked in the top 10 in the national polls, and I think more than anything that is a stat that speaks to the consistency, and you said it perfectly, the reloading of Florida State on a yearly basis. I mean, that is a perfect example right there of what they have been able to do year after year as far as finishing highly ranked in the national polls.
Yeah, they were ranked #1 for 8 consecutive weeks. They were in the poll, top 10, I believe, for 171 weeks from September of 2005 to October of last year.
It's amazing.
That's ranked in the polls nationally, so I'd say that's consistency. That's sort of a definition of consistency, being ranked in that long in the top 25.
Ranked 14th right now, but they have been higher. We mentioned they beat UCLA, who was ranked number 2 in the country at the time, by a 4-1 final, and they've played a number of teams. They came to a draw with Southern Cal at USC. They were ranked 7th in the country at the time, so they have certainly played some top-notch teams. Played North Carolina, lost 1-0. That broke an 8-0-1 start for them. That was their first loss of the year, that game against Carolina.
That's happened a lot against Carolina, so its endurance program is outstanding. Hey, both teams have been patient. I think Pitt has been fairly patient defensively, which you need to be because you've been in your defensive posture for most of this first half. Florida State has not gone antsy. They did get a little fired up after. That's a good play right there. We're waiting for Robinson to take that ball. The defender shielding off the attacker, and all three go tumbling down.
Kind of worked like a bowling ball right there, and that is a good play. Didn't want there to be a corner or any risk there, so she just comes out and makes a play on it. See everyone, Connolly out there.
It's Veltri and Connolly, and then Robinson. See Veltri screened off, and then boom, they're smiling. Oh, no, that's grimacing more than looks at Veltri.
Yeah, I think both of them maybe grimacing just a bit. There's a ball sent up the middle. Jeffers will step out for it. Good run there by Taylor Price coming down the middle.
Yeah.
I think that's
through ball.
If you're the Panthers, that's probably how it's going to be.
If you're
right?
Caroline, meet the soccer ball. That's what it looks like. She hasn't had to touch that much, but it's what you want to do. Pitt tried that with Morgan, who since won out.
Right.
Price had that run down the near side, so Taylor Price kind of slides into the middle, and that's what you want to do. She's got talented. The redshirt senior Taylor Price is from Thornhill, Ontario, and she can finish if she gets the opportunity for the Panthers.
And Randy Waldrum said that they were expecting maybe a little bit more from her, but she got hurt towards the end of last year, had a knee injury, kept her out of a lot of the offseason, and it has been a tough road to full recovery. So the knee is still somewhat bothering her and just has not been able to be as explosive and athletic. The fitness just has not quite been there that they would like her to be at. And again, she's a redshirt senior. Will have her senior day on Sunday against Notre Dame, but it's just been a tough go of it. Let's take a look at the two coaches head-to-head. There are 6 total meetings as NCAA head coaches. 5 of those games have come in the NCAA tournament, 2006, 2007, 08, 09, 2012. And finally they met in the ACC in 2013. But 3 of the first 4 went the way of Notre Dame and Randy Waldrum.
That's some high-profile matchups, as you saw by that graphic from those two teams. Randy Waldron had great success at Notre Dame. We've been highlighting how successful Coach Krikorian has been at Florida State.
Of the 5 games in the NCAA tournament, the first 2, 06 and 07, were in the national semifinal. Notre Dame won the first one, then lost in the national championship. In 07, Florida State won, and then they lost in the national championship. And then the next 3 years, the next 3 times they played, that all came in the national quarterfinals. Here's an opportunity, though, for the Panthers. O'Fanning on the shot.
It was Price, I believe.
Price, yeah, for Pittsburgh. She gets up smiling.
She's smiling. Watch her try to tee this up with the left foot.
If she gets a piece of it, it's going to go a long way, but just fanned up.
Yeah, she did. Either that's the first shot on goal if she strikes that, or that's a great cross. And there's another opportunity.
Long look and a good save by Caroline Jeffers. Boy, out of nowhere, the Panthers with a great opportunity. And that was Madeline Gravanti with an excellent look.
From distance, with a great strike with the right foot.
Watch this, just came out of nowhere, and that ball just blasted towards the net. Oh, what a great look.
That's about 40 yards out. Great strike, better save with the right hand. So Jeffers' first save is a good one. Now she gets to face the first corner of the evening for the Panthers from the near side flag.
Gravanti, the freshman out of Staten Island. The Panthers' best attempt so far. Corner in, It's cleared by the Seminoles, but put right back into the box. Knocked down.
2 goals on the season for Fanti, so she knows how to find the net, and that's a chance. You try to catch the keeper by surprise, and she almost did. That was really well struck.
That would have been a sensational goal had that found its way in, but hey, credit Jeffers, has not played much this year and has not seen a ton of action tonight, but she made the save of the evening to this point. Here's Castellanos, and boy, what a momentum swing it could be if Florida State could find the net on this possession, and they do just that, a cross in, and it's a goal for Florida State as Kristen McFarland was there to put it home. And again, just a huge swing in momentum for the Seminoles.
Big save at one end, and then the ball comes up. It's worked on the right wing. McFarland, who didn't start, the redshirt sophomore, comes in. There you see the ball running it down was Conley. Conley put it in. McFarland had a step on the defender. Easy pickings with the right foot, 2-0. Could have been 1-1. Instead, late in the first half, it becomes 2-0. Florida State, 4th goal of the year for Kristen McFarland.
That is a tough one for the Panthers as well. You have that terrific opportunity.
And a subsequent corner as well.
Right.
And then you look the other way and the ball's in your back of your net. Right before that happened, you hinted at it. You were that close to possibly being in a tie, and then good teams will do that.
Right.
Florida State certainly is that.
Ravanti will take this kick. So the goal for Kristen McFarland, the sophomore, redshirt sophomore from Powell, Ohio. Getting to play a little bit closer to home tonight.
You know, I saw it's pretty good representation by the Florida State fans, and I thought, well, maybe they want to come up from Florida. Maybe they don't like the hot weather, but they got a couple players, including McFarland from Ohio. Zhao is actually, Clara Robbins, who's not playing, is from Virginia. So
Aaliyah Berkeley is from Liberty Township, Ohio, as well.
So that's an easier road trip for those families.
Even some of the...
Sure, they'd probably like to be in Florida in the fall, but you take what you can get, right?
There's a few players as well from Canada. It's not a terrible drive down. Maybe make a long weekend out of it.
Yeah, and this is warm weather for those players,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely. They're out there in the shorts. It's a 50-50 ball, and Hudson, a good job winning that. I've been really impressed with Cheyenne Hudson. She has made just 2 or 3 really good effort kind of plays, just stepping up and winning the ball at times.
But called for a hold.
Watch this right here. This is a 50-50 play with Castellanos, both number 10s going at it. She got to it.
Cheyenne Hudson has been visible and active tonight for the Panthers. She's had to be on the back line.
Alcorn just tried to make a smooth play to get that ball, chip that ball over. Cutting pass through to Burgow. Olivia Burgow checked into the game a little while back, approaching the half here, but Florida State looking for more. Ball sent in, it's going to roll out long.
A couple good fakes there by Jalen Howe to move into space, and at the last second tries to slide it through the patent. It's just out of her reach. If you're Pitt, you're thinking, man, what could have been, okay, that's by. It's 2-0. You don't want it to be any worse than this. 2-1 would be great, but you don't want it to be any worse than 2-0, so you have to be careful on that organized attack late for Florida State, because we're under a minute remaining in the first half.
And Robinson, you can tell, not really wanting to rush anything there. Here come the Seminoles, Castellanos. Should just play it safely back with now 20 seconds remaining. Being knocked off. The ball was Alexa Orante.
3, 7, 6, 5,
5 seconds.
4, 3,
Florida State trying
2,
something here. Now they're just going to let it get to the half. Well, Florida State
halftime score.
with
Florida
a
State
big
7,
late
2.
goal after Pittsburgh nearly equalized things. They come right back down and score. And Kristen McFarland's goal proving to be a big one at this point. Halftime here in Pittsburgh, it's Florida State with a 2-goal edge, 2-0 Seminoles leading the Panthers here on the ACC Network Extra.